This is Mercy Pilkington for GoodeReader in London at FutureBook event, speaking to Charlie Redmayne, the CEO of Pottermore, who gave a presentation this morning on the importance of global branding, but also had some very interesting remarks in this last panel on DRM and what its effect is on sales and piracy. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your last presentation about DRM?
Well, it was a panel, and I was asked about the effectiveness, I think, of DRM, because one of the things that we've done with Pottermore is to obviously sell Harry Potter ebooks direct. We've persuaded Amazon, Barnes & Noble and others to drive traffic to us. We then own that consumer relationship and we push to any device. And in order to do that, we went with a DRM-free solution whereby we put watermarks on each book so we could identify a unique sale, but it was pushable to any other e-reader or any device. And we actually we ask our readers to or buyers to push to up to 8 devices and to experience it. J.K. Rowling was very focused on the fact that she wanted her content to be able to be read anywhere by someone who bought it, and that was important to her. What we found was that, first of all, that gave us a big win. It enabled us to sell direct because we could push to any device, and that has meant that we now have an ebook business that sells millions of pounds worth of ebooks, and we own that direct relationship with consumers. What we also found was that it didn't increase piracy. When we went live, I was very concerned that it would. What we found was that immediately these files were put up on file sharing sites. But the digital sort of community reacted to that, and a lot of bloggers started blogging, going, seriously guys, this is a company that has finally done what you have all asked for years. And you go and stick it up on a file sharing site. And on top of that, have you not noticed there is a watermark on that, which means they can take it back to an individual purchase and they know exactly who you are. And suddenly we started seeing it come down. So I think what we've seen over that time is that piracy for Harry Potter books is now about 25% lower than it was when we started selling them on Pottermore, DRM-free. I don't think that means that going DRM-free reduces piracy, but what it does do is it shows that if you make content available on a platform that people want to consume it and at a price that they're willing to pay, that reduces piracy. But what it does show as well is that by taking DRM off, it doesn't reduce piracy. Ultimately, DRM can be stripped off these files anyway, very effectively and very quickly. So for us, the big win was going DRM-free, get a direct relationship with the consumer, and that was the key.
And of course, developing the Pottermore brand and incorporating so many more aspects that are not strictly about the ebooks has also possibly led to that greater relationship with your readers to where they don't want to file share, like you were talking about the bloggers who were kind of admonishing them for this. So how important was that brand, not just in that aspect, but in developing the entire world of Harry Potter online?
Well, I don't know how important that was in terms of reduction in piracy. I know how important that was in terms of building an overall business. I think a lot of publishers view digital opportunity as being limited by the selling of ebooks through retailers, and it's not. It's about telling stories on every digital platform and every digital device that makes sense, or experiencing those stories, and building commercial businesses around it. So Pottermore is a site. It is a free site with no advertising on it, and that is as we would wish it to be. But it's a site that J.K. Rowling has produced content around the stories, ancestries to the characters, family trees, backstories, what was happening when other things were happening in the story. So actually the stories were a very narrow world, a very narrow corridor that ran through this greater world that she created. And what Pottermore is showing that greater world to consumers. So we have that, and that has millions and millions of Harry Potter fans engaged and consuming that content and interacting with the interactive elements of it and the community elements of it. We have the shop that sells ebooks and digital audio, but we also have the Book of Spells, part of the Wonder Book proposition, which has been released by Sony in the last few weeks for PlayStation 3. And that is just the most fantastic product, which You know, if you see children opening the book in front of their PlayStation, their image being transported onto the screen and into the magical world, into Hogwarts, and then as they read through the book of spells, they can start casting spells, and as they cast those spells, it happens around them on the screen, and the delight and the magic of that. And I think that, you know, when you see a company like Sony getting together with great content and an amazing author in J.K. Rowling, who will create content for that type of proposition, that's the next part of what Pottermore is. You know, and then we'll be rolling out onto other platforms and really making sure that Harry Potter has a digital legacy and that people can discover Harry Potter across all these different platforms, but ultimately pushing people back to reading that core product, which is the book.
Thank you so much for taking your time at the end of this long day for us. This is Mercy Pilkington for GoodeReader at FutureBook in London. Thank you again, Charlie Redmayne from Pottermore.
Thank you.